11 years old, has showed up in his debut film, and via in the 1930s and 1940s. He soon rose to acknowledged as a Universal Studios' most reliable performers. He created enduring impact as a young sidekick in movies with celebrities like Peggy Ryan and Bing Crosby. While he was during his adolescence, he frequently appeared in comedies and light musicals where his innate charm and agile dancing style enthralled viewers. His boyish, attractive, and laid-back disposition assisted him in changing from child actor Toto guiding man in a manner that few others could handle it. Among his first, his role in a series was one of his claims to fame of Gloria, and musical comedies together. Peggy Ryan and Jean, where his vibrant vigor and humorous timing were beneficial that make him a dependable celebrity and the system for the studio. But it was in the Donald O'Connor's arrival at the height of his profession. His role in 1952's Singing in the Rain, in contrast to Debbie Reynolds and Gene Kelly, continues to be among the best highlights of the heyday of Hollywood musicals. In this historic movie, O'Connor displayed his unparalleled physical humor and his mastery in the now famous number Make Him Laugh. The custom, it blended slapstick humor with exceptional athleticism, required so a great deal of energy that he apparently had to spend the next few days in bed to get better. However, it turned into one of the most famous sequences in film history, solidifying O'Connor's standing as a master performer. Apart from his compositions, O'Connor demonstrated adaptability as a straight comedian and actor. He starred in the Francis the Talking Mule as a beloved movie, episodes in which he portrayed the endearing Peter Sterling, the soldier across from the hilariously witty Mule. However, later, O'Connor acknowledged that he had mixed sentiments on being connected thus firmly with the Mule movies. It was incredibly well liked by viewers and added to his household status. Name. His ability to change positions with ease from heartfelt musicals to hilarious comedies, he stood out among his peers based on his. In addition to movies, Donald O'Connor was a powerful presence as well, both on stage and television. He was the main star, the Donald O'Connor Variety Show, his ON show in the 1950s, and produced innumerable illustrious as guests on shows that range from comedy specials to chat shows. He performed on Broadway and in Las Vegas. Productions, as well as on Global Faces, demonstrating that his request was not restricted to the big screen. His creations earned him honors, such as a prime 1954 Time Emmy Award for Best Male Star of a Typical Show. He even served as host to the 1954 Academy Awards, in addition to showcasing his adaptability. And even though the classic The Decline of Musicals and O'Connor's Lego Psychopath Shining, he received a new generation of television-watching fans' appearances and sporadic roles in movies. In Out to Sea 1997, for example, Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, proving that his humorous timing and likability remained constant. His contributions were acknowledged with many honors for lifelong achievement, and he frequently received invitations to discuss his recollections of the heyday of Hollywood. In retrospectives and interviews. As the years passed, O'Connor kept to be honored for his outstanding contribution to the arts. He deserved many accolades and distinctions, such as an Emmy Award for Colgate's hosting Hour of Comedy. And only a year later, in 2003, prior to his death, he was recognized with a prize for career accomplishment from the American Film Institute. His latter years were characterized by introspection and thankfulness. As he recognized the happiness he had discovered in introducing music and laughter into the lives of many individuals throughout the world. Donald O'Connor's private affairs was just as complex and multi-layered as his work in entertainment, and a large portion of it focused on his two spouses and the family he accumulated over time. He was fathered after 2 marriages of 4 kids. All of them was a significant period in his travel away from the glaring lights of Hollywood. It was his first marriage, when he was only 18 in 1944, a period that his performing career was, although it is still in its infancy, displaying indications of immense promise. He married Wendling Carter, 2 years his senior, 20 years old. The choice made by the pair to be married in Mexico's Tijuana was typical of the impetuous and romantic decisions frequently made by young couples, particularly under the intense pressure at the entertainment ambience. In spite of their youth, the marriage required a significant commitment, and their first child was born shortly after, a daughter, Donna. Together, for being a father at such a young age, O'Connor being young provided happiness and it introduced a new aspect of his existence that was already packed with the needs of an increasing profession in entertainment. But like numerous Hollywood unions of the time, the stresses of long hours and continuous workups, as well as the difficulties of personal event, tension resulted from discrepancies. Following 10 years of dating O'Connor and in 1954, Carter got divorced, signifying the dissolution of his initial marriage, yet abandoning the lasting connection of Donna, their daughter. 2 years following his divorce, O'Connor fell in love once more on the actress he married on October 11, 1956, the person who would become his lifelong mate and companion. Their marriage turned out to be incredibly durable, spanning about 50 years till the death of O'Connor in 2003. Gloria allowed O'Connor to broaden his, and they brought up 3 Alice, Fred, Kevin, and more kids. Eventually, the family made their home in California's Thousand Oaks, where they created a loving and secure household surrounds away from the steady In contrast to his initial reduced duration of marriage, O'Connor's glorious union was distinguished by stability, love for one another, and remarkably lengthy lifespan of 47 years. They weathered the ups and downs of their marriage, of his professional life, his health issues, and Hollywood's shifting terrain, making it among the most resilient connections in the entertainment world. Gloria supported O'Connor through Feuds' accomplishments and his more challenging periods, giving him the type of grounding and assistance that many performers had trouble locating themselves. When Donald O'Connor considered his lengthy Hollywood career, full of stunning movie performances, both on stage and on television, one of the names that consistently evoked feelings of warmth, Debbie Reynolds, was admired. That two had collaborated on one of the MGM musical's prime eras, and O'Connor was never afraid to voice how much he valued and respected her as a person and as a performer throughout his life. In interviews, he frequently discussed Reynolds openly, providing information on the attribute things helped her stand out in a field or talented more was disclosed by his words compared to professional. They encapsulated the sincere affection and friendship that formed between two those that shared the stage, lights in a time of legend. She was among the most diligent women I've ever encountered, O'Connor famously remarked, considering their Reynolds devoted numerous hours to practicing and honing her skills. Debbie at the time of Singing in the Rain was still quite new and quite young. Too. The demanding realm of large budgets music. O'Connor, however, was in awe of her persistence. She had never danced before until Sheboygan, he clarified, but she was able to herself to the limit in order to stay up with me and Jean. I greatly admired her for that. Those statements, made with both appreciation and compassion, highlighted that Reynolds made an almost heroic effort into a movie that eventually became a masterwork of film. O'Connor acknowledged that her decision not to just secured her a spot next to two experienced artists, but also assisted consider her to be among the best screen symbols of the time. Past her professional endurance, said O'Connor kindly of Reynolds' character. Debbie was simply charming, he said, remembered grinning. She was humorous. She had the ability to brighten up and was charming. I was one of the people that loved her among them. His recollections created an image of a lady who, in spite of the demands of the demanding nature of Hollywood and theater roles, the humor never faded. The kindness that won her the affection of viewers. She was more than simply a co-star to O'Connor who performed. She was a friend who made me laugh, and friendship on the set, which eased the demanding nature of extended filming schedules. As O'Connor frequently noted, Reynolds shared a fortitude that profoundly he was impressed. She endured a lot. He once thought about her private life. Nevertheless, she was always able to grin, topical, and to proceed. That requires actual power. These remarks demonstrate his understanding of the difficulties she looked behind the glitzy from demanding contracts with studios to individual heartbreaks. Reynolds never allowed O'Connor to her spirit is broken by those difficulties. Rather, she directed her energy upon her efforts and kept making people happy. Audiences everywhere. Reynolds' passion for O'Connor was not just competent but also intensely private to me. Debbie was like family, he said. Admitted we had a connection that only those who have experienced the trenches of the entertainment industry can truly comprehend. Alluded to the special kinship in his statements that develops among co-stars who encounter the peaks and valleys of Hollywood United. Reynolds to O'Connor is more than just a co-worker, but someone who had been on his side during his professional life. Someone whose friendship and commitment have left enduring effect on his heart, even in years later, long after the attention of O'Connor's legendary musicals had faded. Comments regarding Reynolds carried indefinite tenderness. She was among a kind, he remarked in one of his last there won't be another one. Debbie Reynolds, on behalf of O'Connor, who had danced and exchanged innumerable hours spent working alongside her. Reynolds symbolized the finest that Hollywood had to offer, had to provide, talent combined with humanity, glitz and grime combined, and renown rooted in genuineness. His remarks were not only as well as a sincere owning a woman who had developed into emblem of tenacity and charm in entertainment in America. Through Donald, one can observe O'Connor's reflections. Debbie Reynolds, in addition to being Thea Brightstar captured on film, however, as the woman behind Thea's diligent, strong, compassionate, and adored. His admiration glowed core of their friendship, telling viewers that behind the sequence in musical performances were the actual people who are concerned about each other by expressing his genuine emotions. O'Connor left behind more than just his own legacy, genius, but also of the regard, and he was in love with one of Hollywood's bright lights. The work of Donald O'Connor later years were characterized by several severe health issues that were reflected in the physical burden of his lengthy and demanding career in entertainment, and the wear that comes with growing older. In 1990, following decades of involvement in roles that require a lot of physical exertion, many of which needed him to jump, dance, tumbling while keeping your energy level up, something not many performers could maintain. O'Connor had a significant medical, a quadruple heart bypass operation. This was no minor procedure. Intervention, but one that can save lives. Procedure meant to restore appropriate flow of blood to his heart, For an individual who has devoted a large portion of his career to praised for his endless energy and seemingly endless endurance, the necessity of this hazardous treatment was a somber reminder of his own death, that the actual operation was a laborious procedure, one that was risky by nature. But O'Connor's tenacity and willpower to continue alive for his loved ones and his supporters enabled him to persevere and get better. He managed to survive the operation, demonstrated his powerful determination, but it also signaled the start of a more vulnerable time in his existence, whereby health would turn into a main and persistent difficulty. Almost in January 1999, 10 years later, once more, O'Connor had to deal with a potentially fatal medical emergency when he acquired multiple pneumonia, especially extreme and hazardous form of pneumonia, wherein the infection and the lining is affected by inflammation, thoracic cavity and lungs. For a man in his 70s and a history of cardiac issues, this disease was very dangerous, and at times, it appeared that he wouldn't make it. The encounter was terrifying not just for O'Connor, who has consistently taken pride in his capacity to overcome hardship, as well as for his friends, family, and supporters who had observed him fight so courageously in the past. At the time, reports say that he almost passed away from the disease and he needs to get better amazing medical attention, endurance, and inner fortitude. O'Connor's survival this experience revealed a lot about his persistent fortitude and his unwillingness to give in to hopelessness even when confronted with overwhelming odds. His battle with pneumonia turned into yet another phase in telling the account of his extraordinary life. Malaho had endured the hardships of Hollywood's golden age, vaudeville musicals, as well as the physical requirements for steady performance, currently fighting ailments with the same perseverance that had carried him across the screen once in memorable dance and music pieces. But in the end, Donald O'Connor, she was overcome with health issues, and on September 27, 2003, at 78 years old, he died as a result of complications from cardiac failure. The information on his passing divested fans for generations who had grew up witnessing his brilliant appearance in movies like Singing in Rain, where his unparalleled comic athletic dancing and timing had guaranteed he will always have a place in movie history. He died at the Motion Television and Picture Country House and Woodland Hills, California, hospital facility devoted to providing care for individuals working in the entertainment sector in their later years, where his, in a way, the last days were appropriate. It was a location designed for those who have committed themselves to the art of performance, a place of refuge where the valiant ladies who had provided millions of hours of entertainment discovered dignity, contentment, and tranquility at the conclusion of their travels. Regarding O'Connor, who had participated in Hollywood since early youth, the movie Elevision, A Picture, A Country Home, and Facility represented a sort of closure of the circle. He had started off as a boy,